Hello, Virgo, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of February 8th through the 14th. And let me wish you a happy Valentine's Day. The moon cycles this week are ever changing. We have the waning gibbous first for the first couple of days. And of course, that's the same energy as last week. It brings us into self-reflection, rebirth, getting rid of bad habits. Then we do have the last quarter moon that comes in on the 10th. And that's a time of just inward reflection, a good time for us to kind of wrap up those things that we were, started on the new moon for this cycle. Get rid of negative emotions and just really kind of let those things wrap up and see where you are. And we're going to kind of evaluate. Then we have the crescent moon that comes in, stability, calm, and that is our time for that self-reflection. And again, that evaluation, what did we learn from? What did we, how did we grow? And what things might we want to do when that new moon cycle comes again? It's just around the bend. So keep those moon cycles in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Virgo. So, as always, please take what resonates today and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is you are good enough, which is the full moon in your sign. So, you're good enough. So, whatever you have going on, keep that in mind. All right, as I'm shuffling the tarot, my fun weekly reminder this week is that you try to take some time to meditate. So go within, still your mind and your body, and just explore. So if this is something that you already do, then you know what I'm talking about. If it's not something, if meditation is not something that you participate in, it's just try to take a few minutes for yourself. It's something I found it to be very valuable. I go through times, I happen to be very hyper. It's very hard for me to just settle in and be quiet. So I had to work at it a little bit. And when I first started, it was just, 5 minutes was a lot. And now, and I do kind of go in and out. I have to work back up to it sometimes if I get out of the habit of meditating. But that is my fun weekly reminder. The moon energies are certainly in line for that this week, to really just be quiet and go in and self-reflect. So you might use a guided meditation if you need that. I know I use music sometimes. It helps me to just kind of focus and let everything go and not be distracted just by, sometimes if the house is quiet, there's just still those little sounds, or the cat's over there crunching on his food, or the tick of a clock. So those tend to distract me. So I need some kind of sound to distract from that. But anyway, I don't know why I'm rambling. Let's get into this reading. Virgo, February 8th through the 14th. You are good enough. Your present energy right now is the Three of Swords. So, you are good enough, but is there something right now that is kind of breaking your heart? Something that's maybe a little bit disappointing here. This could even be words that were coming at you, something someone said that has kind of shaken your confidence a little bit. It could be something you said to yourself. I mean, Virgos tend to be very self-critical. So, there's something going on there that it's just kind of, I just kind of feel the downer energy. Again, you're good enough. You're good enough. Whatever self-talk you're doing or whatever someone else is saying to you, let's really try to get out of that critical mode a little bit. Your current situation is the Two of Cups. So this could have been a friend. This could have been something that a friend said um to you, and it's just kind of taken you, you're just taking it in a way that's really disappointing. And if that's the case, sometimes, you may need to just confront that person. Sometimes it's just a misunderstanding, right? They said one thing and you took it away, and maybe they didn't really mean it that way. So sometimes just get that clarification. Maybe they did, but sometimes, I would say half the time when you said, they're like, no, 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 that's not what I meant. So sometimes maybe just confronting that person and say, hey, you said this thing to me and it really hurt my feelings. And what did you mean by that? And let them go ahead and clarify. Don't put the words into their mouth. Just shut up and let them talk. So at the root of this situation is the Knight of Cups. So it could have been something, um, something where there was some emotional type action there. This was, maybe it was a heated conversation about something, but it looks like you're at least open to that. And sometimes we open ourselves up and we do get hurt. So that just happens. It does happen in friendships and partnership sometimes. But again, just clarify, make sure there wasn't some miscommunication where you've taken it the wrong way. And again, this could be, um, it could have just been a misunderstanding in that way. In your recent past here is the Four of Cups. So lots of cups, lots of emotion around this entire situation. Which, of course, there's going to be. If it's something that's really disappointing you, or, again, it's heartbreaking, but you're coming into it already a little bit disappointed. Maybe that was someone just saying the thing that, you're already a little bit down and you really didn't need to hear it. So, and that happens too. But again, try to confront that friend and make sure that you're taking that the right way. Hopefully, maybe they were trying to support you and they just said the wrong thing. Sometimes that happens as well. But again, you are good enough and you need to keep telling yourself that anyway. What is on your mind this week is the Three of Cups. So, can we get past this and celebrate? Can we add another friend in to kind of be a buffer, maybe? I mean, that even seems like a situation, but here we are back at the cups. There's emotions all around this, but it's on your mind to, and maybe was this a situation where there was a party that you were left out of for some reason and you're kind of feeling that, right? But this celebration or something is on your mind, and there might be something going on with that. Of course, drop me a comment down below if there's some situation here with this. Are you disappointed about something that had something to do with a party? I mean, that's definitely how these cards are reading with all of these cups. Whatever this is, it's emotional and you're not feeling good enough, but you are, and you need to just, in whatever way you need to keep reminding yourself of that, then you certainly need to do that. What is just ahead of you this week is feeling a little bit like an outsider. And why wouldn't you be? If you feel left out of something here, which that's totally what I'm picking up on. Is there something going on where you did feel like you were left out? You're going to have to confront whoever it is that was making you feel that, because you were good enough, and maybe there's a reason that you're not understanding. And maybe this person did that and it is what it is. And, sometimes you have to deal with that. Like, is that how you want to be treated? Um, if it's not, yeah, that's your call, right? It's your call to decide, I don't want to be treated like that. And I'm seeing, this does involve other people. There's so many other people in this, in the cards right now, that I feel like, is this a friend or is this a friend group where maybe you are feeling a little bit like an outsider for whatever reason. And those things happen. Just make sure you understand why it happens and try to manage and deal with it. In your advice position is the High Priestess. So this tells me that you intuitively know exactly what's going on, almost without confronting. And so if it is someone treating you badly, then you're just going to have to manage it and deal with it. If you do think it was a misunderstanding, you also intuitively know that as well. So make sure you're just really listening to yourself on this. And maybe it's just a learning, kind of one of those tests. Like, this is a test of your intuition. This thing is going on. Can you intuitively understand this? This could be one of those kind of tests. And those do happen a lot. What is beyond your control this week is the Page of Swords. So some new way of communicating. And is this where you are putting your foot down a little bit? And maybe that's, Virgos are perfectionists. So that's kind of hard to think that something that you were involved with, like a friendship, isn't perfect, right? But not everyone is, no situation is. But um are you going to put up with it? Or are you not going to put up with it? And here's your Page of Swords, which is kind of pages that are about a new way of doing things. And especially in this one, it's in communication or thought. So is this a new way, a new path in communication for you of just saying, I'm not putting up with this anymore? Very well could be. Let's see what else is coming up here. What is your secret desire and what are you trying to avoid? Is the Two of Wands. So is it your secret desire to think of the future with this, or to try to avoid that? That'll be your big question for the week. And it's almost like, do you want to confront this now, or do you not want to? Are you trying to avoid? And you might be because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to say uncomfortable things. I will say, look up angel number 22. Actually, look up 222, because there's 3 twos on the table right now. Look up 222 and see if that has any bearing on the situation. Also, in your outcome position is the Fool. So it might just be you on a new journey, maybe seeking a new friend because you're just not going to put up with that anymore. It happens. So I really just feel like that's what's happening here. So, and are you trying to avoid that? It's uncomfortable. I mean, ugh. But listen, you're good enough and you can go out there and make other friends. If someone is treating you badly, don't put up with it. Hidden from you this week is the Queen of Cups, and I'm not surprised with all of this emotion going on. I don't think you're completely in control of all of those emotions. And maybe because this is your big question, is are you trying to is it your secret desire to do this in the in the future? Think about, are you trying to avoid it? You might want to let these emotions settle down before you make these decisions about this new path and this new communication. But I mean, I think it's inevitable. Your intuition, you kind of already know. It might just be hard to put it into action because it's kind of uncomfortable. But again, I'm going to go back to your overall. You are good enough. You're good enough. And if someone is treating you like crap, you're better than that. So keep that in mind. Let's see what the Soul Oracle deck has to say for Virgo. Wrap up here for Virgo. What other advice can we give them as they're going through this situation this week? Quietly serve. I just had that card. That card likes to come out. I'm grabbing another card. I just feel like that reflect on your truth. So quietly serve, and that may be again that you don't make a decision on that this week, but reflect on your truth. What is what's true for you, and sometimes that's just kind of evaluating those feelings. And if you're feeling like an outsider, that's no way, that's no way to be. That's no fun. Again, hopefully this was just a miscommunication. If it wasn't, I think you're gonna have to buck up and do the thing and say the thing that's uncomfortable, and make that decision, and then just say it and be done with it. That's all you can do, is let the chips fall. All right, let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care. Self-care for Virgo this week as they go through this. Interesting. Your card is the card that says decision. Sometimes the best decision is no decision at all. That's funny too, because, I do feel like quietly serve, reflect on your truth, making decision. That's your big thing. Do you want to think about the future this week, or are you trying to avoid it? Um, and so maybe just let the emotions die down a little bit. You're not completely in control of them. Things are very high emotion right now. And sometimes when the dust clears and you can see things a little clearer, then there you go. And you're going to be on a new journey no matter what happens, because either you're learning about yourself, or you decide that you're done with this entire situation and you're going to move on from it. But either way, you get to learn. And decisions, again, sometimes the best decision is no decision at all. So you might just want to let these emotions die down first. So Virgo, thank you so much for being here. I do hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use this week in a positive way in your life. If you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment. Let me know, is there a situation that's ringing true for you here? Is this resonating? Or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. Also, if you like my reading style, if you hit like and subscribe, it really helps me, and I would appreciate that so much. More importantly, it'll help you find me next week, where you can come back and we can see if this wraps up or if there's a completely new energy here for you next week. So thank you so much for being here. Good luck with all of this, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.